Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Lusso. I'm a reporter with WUSA 9 in Washington, D.C. And this is Tom Maronick. He is a criminal defense lawyer, been doing this for 16 years, you said?
That's right. 16 years going into 17.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we have been watching the Brendan Banfield trial. This is a man who was on trial for murder, accused of killing his own wife, and another man named Joseph Ryan. A lot has happened. We just entered week 2 of the trial. What are your takeaways from week 1?
The prosecution has made a pretty good case so far. I think starting with their home run witness, the 11 o'clock number witness, if you follow Broadway, it's when you bring out your best witness at the start of a case. And essentially, that's what they've done with the au pair. And of course, John Carroll has focused his questioning, some of his hardest questioning for the au pair. Now they're trying to bring in the science element. They're trying to say that even though the DNA wasn't a perfect piece of evidence for them, there's other evidence that they can use to complete the fabric of this case. And that's really what they're trying to do. They're going to put out their narrative of the case, then they're going to say that the DNA isn't as big a deal because we have this other evidence.
For people that are just starting to tune in, just starting to watch what's happening, what should they be watching for in these weeks that come? Because this trial is supposed to go another 3 weeks. First of all, do you think it'll go 3 weeks? And what should people be looking out for in these coming days?
I don't think it's going to go 3 weeks. What courts usually do is they plan for a worst case scenario, and most of the time that isn't what happens. Most of the time you can move much more quickly. There's going to be some witnesses that the defense won't spend a lot of time with, people that don't hurt the case terribly from their perspective or help the case terribly from the prosecution perspective. So they're going to move faster through them. What I think we're going to see is there's going to be a focus by the defense on building their narrative, which we'll get later on in their case, which is to show that there's reasonable doubt. At least that's the argument they're going to make. They're going to say because X wasn't done correctly, and then there's questions about this, and because this doesn't add up, and because the DNA wasn't a complete match to the right person, based on the prosecution's version of the event. The defense is going to start tearing it apart piece by piece.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tom Maronick. We're also going to have Frank Salvedo weighing in. Make sure you're streaming the entire trial live on WUSA 9 Plus and tuning in during the breaks to hear from some of our legal analysts.